The alien night was quiet, almost too quiet. A soft blue mist floated over the tall silver trees, and the stars shone like cold eyes watching from the sky. Inside a small home, far away from the glowing city, an alien mother sat beside her daughter's bed. Her skin shimmered faintly in the light, but her face was heavy with sorrow. Her large eyes were filled with tears that refused to fall, as if even the universe did not want to witness her pain. Her daughter lay still, too still. The young alien girl had once been full of life. She used to run across the open fields, laugh under the shining moons, and sing with the voices of the forest. But now, her legs did not move. Her body had become a prison. The cruel illness had taken away her joy, her laughter, her strength. Every day she could only watch the world from her bed, her smile growing weaker with each sunrise. The mother held her daughter's hand gently, her fingers trembling. She whispered promises, but her voice broke. "One day, my child. One day, you will walk again." Yet even as she spoke, she felt the sharp sting of doubt inside her heart. She had already gone to the healers of her people. She had already begged the wise ones, the scientists, the rulers. They had tried. They had failed. None of their medicines, none of their powerful machines could give her daughter back what was lost. Hope was dying. The mother closed her eyes and allowed her tears to fall at last. They rolled down her cheeks and glowed softly as they touched her skin. Her daughter, though weak, lifted her hand just enough to touch her mother's face. Her tiny voice, faint as a whisper of wind, said, "Do not cry, mother. I am not afraid." Those words broke the mother's heart even more. How could a child accept such a cruel fate? How could one so young already carry such heavy pain? The silence of the room grew heavy, but outside, something stirred. A sound, strange and low, echoed from the sky. The mother's ears twitched, her eyes lifted, and for a moment, fear replaced her grief. She rushed to the window. Through the mist and the shadows, she saw a light in the heavens. It was not a star, not a moon, not anything she had seen before. The light moved, slowly, carefully, descending like a visitor from another world. Her people had spoken of these strangers. Rumors had spread through the villages. Beings from the stars had come. Small, fragile-looking creatures with soft skin and weak muscles. They did not seem like warriors. They did not seem like healers. And yet, they carried strange knowledge. Tools that shone with colors never seen. Machines that whispered with life. The mother's heart pounded. Could it be them? Could it be the ones the elders called humans? The girl on the bed coughed weakly, pulling her mother's attention back. She looked at her child's pale face, then back at the glowing sky. The tears in her eyes returned, but this time they were mixed with something else, something she had almost forgotten. A spark of hope. What if, she thought. What if these strangers can do what we could not? Her mind wrestled with fear and doubt. Were they dangerous? Were they liars? Could they be trusted? Her people believed humans were fragile, clumsy, too emotional. But if they were so weak, why did their machines shine brighter than any invention her world had made? She looked at her daughter again. The girl's chest rose and fell slowly, each breath like a battle. Time was slipping away. Waiting meant losing her forever. The sound outside grew louder, like thunder wrapped in light. The mother stepped out of her home, her heart racing, her hands shaking. In the distance, a shape was landing. A craft of metal, glowing with soft white beams, touched the earth gently. The ground trembled, but not in anger. It was as if the world itself welcomed these new visitors. The door of the craft opened. Shadows moved inside. Figures stepped out. Small, strange, covered in suits that glimmered. Their faces were hidden behind clear shields, but their movements were calm, gentle. They carried no weapons, only cases filled with unknown tools. The mother's breath caught. She whispered to herself, Could these fragile beings save her? Behind her, the girl's weak voice called once more, "Mother, who is there?" The mother turned, her tears now falling without shame. She did not answer. Not yet. Because even she did not know. Were these beings a miracle or a new nightmare? But deep inside her heart, for the first time in many years, she dared to believe. The silver ground still trembled where the strange craft had landed. Its lights cut through the mist, glowing like a promise and a warning at the same time. The alien mother stood frozen, her hands tight against her chest, her eyes locked on the beings stepping out. They were smaller than she expected. Their bodies were thin, their movements cautious like children walking in a dangerous place. Yet there was something powerful about them, something not in their muscles, but in the way they carried themselves. They walked with purpose, as if they had crossed endless stars only to be here in this very moment. Her people had called them fragile. Her people had laughed. But as she watched, she did not see weakness. She saw mystery. The humans spoke to one another in soft voices, their words strange, filled with sounds her ears had never heard before. The mother did not understand, but she felt the weight of their tone, gentle, calm, careful. They were not here to fight. They were here to something else. One of them noticed her standing in the distance. Slowly, without sudden movement, the human raised a hand, not in threat, but in greeting. The gesture was simple, yet it carried a strange warmth. For the first time in many years, the mother felt a flicker of trust. She raised her own trembling hand in return. The humans approached, their boots leaving small marks in the soft ground. The leader, a woman with eyes that seemed to shine even behind her clear mask, stepped forward. She pointed at the mother, then at the house. Her voice, though foreign, carried meaning. It was a question, a request. The mother's chest tightened. She looked back toward her home where her daughter lay weak and silent. Fear burned in her heart. What if these strangers harmed her? But hope whispered louder. What if they saved her? She nodded. With careful steps, she led them inside. The small room grew crowded as the humans entered, their strange suits brushing against the walls. They looked around, scanning every corner, their devices glowing with lines of light. The mother moved to her daughter's side, protecting her with her body but allowing the humans to see. The young alien girl's eyes widened. She had never seen such creatures. Her lips parted, and though her voice was faint, her words carried wonder. "Mother, stars have walked into our home." The humans reacted softly. One of them knelt beside the bed, lowering themselves to the girl's level. They placed a hand gently on their chest, then pointed at her. Their voice was slow, careful, almost like a song. Though the words were unknown, the meaning was clear. "We are here for you." The mother's breath shook. She wanted to believe. She wanted to trust. But her people had failed. Their science, their healers, their machines, all had failed. What made these outsiders different? The answer came in the glow of their tools. From the cases they carried, they revealed small machines, shining screens, humming lights, wires like silver veins. One machine hovered in the air, scanning the girl's body with beams of soft blue light. Another device clicked and whirred, showing images and patterns the mother could not understand. The humans studied the results, speaking in their strange tongue. Their voices carried both excitement and concern. They pointed to the girl's spine, to her legs, to their glowing screens. Finally, the leader turned to the mother. She touched her own chest, then the girl's hand, and spoke a single word: "Help." The mother's tears returned. Her heart screamed with doubt, but her soul clung to that word. Help. She moved aside, giving them space. The humans worked quickly, but gently. They connected wires to the girl's skin, set small devices along her back, and whispered to one another with steady focus. The air filled with soft beeping, humming, and the glow of alien but strangely comforting light. The girl winced at first, fear flashing in her eyes, but one human knelt beside her and held her hand. They smiled, a simple human smile, and spoke softly. The girl, though she did not understand, seemed to feel the kindness behind the words. She nodded weakly, allowing them to continue. The mother watched every second, her heart caught between terror and hope. Were these strangers performing a miracle, or were they only giving false promises like so many before them? The machines grew louder, their lights brighter. Strange symbols danced across the humans' screens. One of them gasped, pointing at the images. The leader nodded firmly, as if some invisible wall had been found, and a path through it discovered. Tiua. Mother leaned forward, clutching her hands together so tightly they trembled. Every heartbeat felt like a drum of fate. Then, silence. The machines slowed. The lights dimmed. The humans stepped back. The girl lay still, her eyes closed, her chest rising and falling. The mother's breath caught. Had it failed? Had she made the mistake of trusting again? But then, a sound. A whisper. The girl's toes moved. Just a twitch. Small, but real. The human's eyes lit up. The leader pointed, smiling through the mask. The mother gasped, tears flooding her face as she dropped to her knees beside her child. It was only the beginning, but it was a beginning no healer of her people had ever given. The air inside the small room was heavy. The strange human machines hummed and beeped, filling the silence with a rhythm that sounded like a heartbeat. The mother stood close to her daughter's bed, her hands trembling, her breath uneven. Kiyu. Girl lay still, eyes wide open, staring at the glowing devices around her. She looked afraid, yet there was a spark of wonder in her gaze. The humans worked quickly, but their movements were careful. Each one seemed to know their place. One adjusted the screens that showed glowing lines and shapes. Another placed thin, silver wires across the girl's legs. A third knelt beside her, whispering soft words she could not understand, yet those words carried warmth like sunlight. The mother watched them with both fear and hope battling inside her. Every healer of her own people had failed. Every attempt had ended with nothing but sorrow. Now these fragile-looking strangers claimed they could do the impossible. Her heart wanted to believe them, but her mind screamed in warning. The leader of the humans, a woman with sharp eyes and steady hands, raised her palm toward the mother. She spoke slowly, pointing first at the machines, then at the girl. Though the language was strange, the meaning was clear. We are ready. Trust us. The mother swallowed hard. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Please, save her." The process began. The machines grew louder, lights flickering across the room. A blue glow spread over the girl's body, outlining her weak frame in soft light. The wires pulsed like veins of fire, carrying energy from the machines into her fragile muscles. The girl gasped, her body trembling as if it were waking from a long sleep. The mother nearly rushed forward, but one of the humans gently lifted, a hand asking her to wait. The girl's legs jerked once, then fell still again. Her eyes widened, tears forming as she whispered, "Mother, I feel something." Hope flared in the mother's chest. She pressed her hands together, her tears falling freely. But then, an alarm rang out. The machines screeched, flashing, red symbols the mother could not read. The humans' voices grew sharp and urgent as they spoke to one another. Their calm steps turned into quick movements. They tapped screens, adjusted wires, opened cases for more tools. The mother's hope twisted into fear. "Is it failing?" she whispered, her voice breaking. The girl's chest rose and fell rapidly, her breaths turning shallow. Her small hands clutched the bedsheets, her eyes squeezing shut. The mother cried, out trying to step forward, but the leader stopped her with a firm shake of the head. The humans worked faster now. One injected a clear liquid into the wires. Another replaced a glowing device while the leader pressed a small disc against the girl's spine. The room filled with strange lights, as if stars had been trapped inside. The mother fell to her knees, clutching the edge of the bed, whispering prayers to powers she had long stopped believing in. She begged silently, "Do not take her from me, not now, not when hope has returned." For a long moment the girl lay still, too still. The mother's cry filled the room. "No, please, not my child." And then, a miracle. The girl's hand twitched, her fingers curled, weak but alive. The red lights on the machines faded back to blue, the alarms silenced. The humans let out breaths of relief, their tense shoulders relaxing. The leader knelt by the bed again, her eyes locking with the mother's. She pressed her palm to her chest, then pointed to the girl. "She is fighting," her voice said in simple words. The girl's eyes opened slowly. They glowed with new strength, though her body was still weak. "Mother," she whispered, "I can feel my legs. I can feel them again." The mother covered her mouth with shaking hands. Her tears poured like rivers. She reached for her daughter but stopped, afraid to disturb the work. The humans continued to adjust the devices, carefully stabilizing the energy that now flowed through her body. Minutes passed like hours. Every sound, every flicker of light carried the weight of life and death. But slowly, the girl's breathing steadied. Her muscles twitched again, not once, but several times. Her toes shifted under the blanket, moving as if they were waking after years of sleep. The mother gasped. The humans smiled softly. The leader nodded with calm confidence, as though she had known this was possible all along. The attempt was not finished. The girl had not yet stood, had not yet walked, but the impossible had begun. The mother dropped to her knees beside her daughter, tears falling onto the floor. Her voice was weak but filled with gratitude. "Thank you, whoever you are. Thank you." The humans did not answer in words. They only smiled, their eyes shining with the simple truth of their mission. They had not come for glory, nor for reward. They had come because they believed no life, human or alien, should suffer without hope. And in that moment, the mother began to believe too. The night outside was silent, but inside the small house, the air was alive with light and sound. The machines around the alien girl glowed softly, no longer screaming with alarms but humming in a steady rhythm, like the heartbeat of hope itself. The mother stood frozen beside the bed, her eyes locked on her daughter. She could not blink, she could not breathe. Every second felt like standing at the edge of a cliff waiting to see if she would fall or fly. The girl's fingers moved again, stronger this time. She opened her eyes, and though her face was pale, there was fire in her gaze. Slowly she lifted her trembling hand and whispered, "Mother, I can feel." The mother's knees almost gave way. She clutched the side of the bed, her tears flowing freely now. "My child, my precious child," she cried, her voice shaking. For years she had dreamed of hearing those words, and now they were real. The humans did not celebrate, yet. They stayed focused, moving their hands across their strange devices, adjusting the glowing wires, checking the girl's reactions. Their calmness made the mother's heart steady. If they were not afraid, maybe she should not be afraid either. The leader looked at the girl's legs and gave a signal. Another human carefully removed the silver wires from her skin. The glow faded, but the energy remained. The leader then pointed at the girl's feet, then at the ground. Her meaning was clear, even without words. "Try." The girl's eyes widened. Fear flickered across her face. For so long, her legs had been useless, heavy as stone. Could she really move them now? She glanced at her mother, searching for courage. The mother nodded quickly, her face wet with tears. "Yes, my child. Try, please try." The girl took a deep breath. She focused. Slowly, painfully, she lifted one leg. At first it shook, weak and uncertain, but it moved, truly moved. The mother gasped so loudly it echoed through the house. She covered her mouth with both hands, choking back a sob. The humans watched silently, their faces calm but their eyes shining with quiet pride. Then came the second leg. It lifted, shakier than the first, but real. The girl's body trembled with the effort, sweat forming on her forehead. She cried out softly, not from pain but from the shock of feeling her muscles work after so long. The mother could no longer hold back. She fell to her knees, clutching her daughter's hands, crying into them. "You are alive. You are whole. The stars have answered." But the miracle was not complete. The leader gestured again, this time pointing to the ground, then to the girl. The meaning was simple. Stand. The girl froze. Her voice shook. I cannot." The mother whispered quickly, "You can, my child. You must believe." With help from the humans, the girl sat up. Her body was weak, but her back straightened for the first time in years. The mother placed her hand behind her, steadying her, whispering encouragement. The humans adjusted their machines one last time, giving gentle support through small glowing discs attached to her spine. The girl swung her legs over the side of the bed. Her feet touched the floor. They trembled under her weight, but they held. The mother's breath caught. She dared not move, dared not speak, as if any sound would break this fragile moment. The girl's hands gripped her mother's arms. Slowly, slowly, she pushed herself upward. Her legs shook violently, but they held. Inch by inch she rose. And then, she stood. For the first time in so many years, she stood on her own legs. The mother's scream of joy shook the air. She wrapped her arms around her daughter, holding her as if she would never let go. She cried into her child's shoulder, her tears falling like rain. "You are walking. You are walking." The girl's legs wobbled, but the humans stepped forward, steadying her. With their help, she took one step, then another. The sound of her small feet on the floor was like thunder to the mother's heart. She laughed through her sobs, her voice breaking with every word. "The impossible has happened. The stars have given you back to me." The humans stepped back, watching silently. They did not boast. They did not claim power. They only exchanged soft looks, their smiles calm, their mission complete. The girl turned to them, her voice weak but filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. The words were alien to them, but the meaning needed no translation. The mother dropped to her knees before the humans, her hands pressed together in reverence. She had once thought them fragile, laughable. Now she saw them as something greater. Creatures not of strength, but of compassion, whose hearts could heal what even the most advanced alien science could not. She lifted her tear-stained face to them and whispered, "You are not weak. You are the strongest beings I have ever known." The humans only bowed their heads in silence. Outside, the stars continued to shine, but to the mother and daughter they no longer seemed distant or cold. They seemed alive, carrying the promise of new hope. For tonight, humanity had given them a miracle, and the universe would never be the same again. The room was still trembling with joy. The alien girl stood on her legs, weak but steady, her mother holding her close as if she would never let go again. The humans had stepped back, giving space, their faces calm, their eyes reflecting quiet satisfaction. The miracle was real. The impossible had been broken. For a long time, there were only tears and laughter. The mother kissed her daughter's forehead again and again, whispering words of love. The girl's small hands clutched at her mother's robe as if afraid this was only a dream that might vanish if she let go. Finally, the mother turned to the humans. Her knees bent, lowering her body until her forehead nearly touched the floor. It was not just gratitude, it was surrender. She spoke with a voice that shook, heavy with emotion. "You have done what no one could. You gave life back to my child. I owe you everything. My people owe you everything." The humans exchanged glances. They did not seem proud, nor did they act like conquerors. The leader stepped forward, removing the clear shield from her face. For the first time, the mother saw her features fully. The human skin was pale, her eyes tired yet burning with kindness. She knelt down so their eyes met and spoke slowly, in simple words that carried across the silence. "We are not gods. We are not saviors. We are only explorers. But we help, Because life is precious. The mother's tears fell anew. She did not understand every word, but she understood the meaning. These beings were not here for reward or glory. They were here because compassion was stronger than distance, stronger than fear, stronger even than the walls between species. The girl, still trembling, whispered softly, "They came, just for me." The leader smiled gently. She touched her chest, then pointed to the stars beyond the window. "Not just for you, for all." The mother felt her heart tremble. Her people had always believed strength meant power, muscle, weapons, technology. Yet these small, fragile strangers had shown another kind of strength. A strength that healed instead of destroyed. A strength born not from dominance, but from empathy. She whispered the words aloud, as if admitting a secret to the universe itself. True strength is kindness. The humans began packing their machines, careful and respectful, as if they did not want to disturb the sacred weight of the moment. The leader looked at the girl one last time, nodding with quiet approval, as though passing a silent blessing. But before they could leave, the mother stepped forward. "Wait," she pleaded. Her voice trembled with fear of losing them. "Please do not go. The others, they must see. They must know what you can do." The humans hesitated. Their eyes met one another's, silent conversation passing between them. Finally, the leader spoke softly, though her words carried weight. "We cannot stay. There are many worlds, many lives. We must go, but we will return." The mother's breath caught. Return? The promise felt like fire in her chest. She wanted to beg, to demand they never leave, but she saw in their eyes a truth. They belonged to the stars, not to one home. The girl, still holding her mother's hand, looked at the humans with wide, innocent eyes. "Will you come back to play with me?" The leader's lips curved into a smile, the kind that carried both sorrow and hope. She nodded once. Yes, one day. The mother wanted to believe those words, to carve them into her heart so she would never forget. The humans stepped back toward their ship, the glow of its lights reflecting against the mist outside. The door began to close, but before it sealed shut, the leader looked at the mother one last time. She raised her hand in the same gentle gesture as before. A farewell. A promise. The ship rose into the sky, its light cutting through the darkness, until it became a star among stars. The night grew quiet once more. The mother held her daughter tightly, whispering, "They came like strangers, and left as angels." But even as she spoke, she knew this was only the beginning. Word of what had happened here would spread. Her people would ask questions. Some would rejoice, others would fear. And far beyond this world, other alien races would hear the whispers too. Whispers of fragile beings from Earth, who healed where others failed, who carried hope in their hearts like a weapon stronger than any blade. The mother looked to the Yale sky, her tears drying into determination. Humanity had shown their light, and now the galaxy would watch. Some would welcome them, others would challenge them, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. And far above, aboard their ship, the humans looked out at the stars. The leader's voice was soft but filled with quiet power. Today we healed one child. Tomorrow, we face the galaxy. News of the girl walking again spread like fire across dry grass. Neighbors gathered outside the mother's home, whispering with wide eyes. Some believed it, others said it was a lie. "No one returns from such an illness," one elder muttered. "It is a trick. Or worse, dangerous meddling." But when the girl stepped outside holding her mother's hand, the crowd fell silent. The morning sun touched her face, and her feet pressed against the earth, walking, trembling but steady. Gasps rose from the crowd. Some covered their mouths, others fell to their knees. Children stared in awe, clutching at their parents. She walks again, someone whispered. It is true. The mother's heart swelled with pride, but also with fear. She could feel the weight of their eyes, the mix of wonder and suspicion. Already, questions burned in their minds. Who had done this? What price would come with such a miracle? The humans were gone, but their act had left an unshakable mark. By nightfall, word had traveled far beyond the village. Messengers carried it to the great cities, and traders spread it through the starports. Everywhere the tale changed a little. Some said the humans used forbidden magic, others claimed they had stolen power from the gods. But one truth echoed through every version. The strangers from Earth had healed the broken child. In the council, hall of the capital city, the rulers sat in silence as the story was retold. The high speaker, old and wise, frowned deeply. If this is true, he said, then these humans possess knowledge beyond our own. That makes them either friends of destiny or enemies too dangerous to ignore. Some counselors nodded, hope lighting their eyes. If they can heal, perhaps they can teach, perhaps they can share their power. Others slammed their fists in anger. Or perhaps they plan to weaken us, to make us dependent, to bring us to our knees, not with war, but with gifts. Debate roared, but no answer came. The humans had left no message, no promise, only a miracle. And sometimes a miracle was more dangerous than a weapon. Far beyond this world, on other planets, whispers traveled faster still. Traders carried the story to distant systems. Explorers told it to wandering fleets. And across the dark sea of stars, species who had never even seen a human began to murmur. On a warlike planet, generals laughed. Fragile little creatures healing the weak? Let them come. We will crush them with strength. On another world, scholars grew curious. If their compassion is true, then their science must be great. We must study them, learn from them, and, in the hidden shadows of space, darker voices whispered, if they can heal, what else can they do? If they can restore life, can they also take it away? Back in her small village, the mother listened as strangers arrived, asking questions, demanding answers. She protected her daughter fiercely, keeping her close. The girl, still weak but smiling, whispered to her mother, "Why are they afraid of the humans? They helped me." The mother stroked her child's hair, her own heart heavy. "Because, my love, not all fear is born of hate. Sometimes fear is born of wonder. And sometimes wonder is more frightening than war." That night, as her daughter slept peacefully for the first time in years, the mother stepped outside. She looked up at the stars, searching for the ship that had left. It was gone, but her heart believed they were still watching. Somewhere beyond sight, she whispered into the night as though the stars themselves could hear. They called you fragile. They called you weak. But you are stronger than all of us. Stronger because you choose to heal instead of harm. A gentle wind stirred the silver trees. The mother closed her eyes and made a vow. If the galaxy turns against you, I will not. I saw the truth with my own eyes. I will tell it to all who will listen. And so the story of one healed child became more than just a story. It became a seed planted in the minds of billions. A seed of hope for some, a seed of fear for others. And somewhere aboard their ship, the humans watched the endless stars. Their leader looked out, her voice steady. The galaxy has heard of us now, and they will come with questions, with demands, and with threats. Her second in command asked softly, "Do you regret it? Helping her?" The leader shook her head. "Never. Because this is what it means to be human, to give hope, even if the universe fears it." And with that, the ship continued into the dark, carrying humanity's light deeper into the unknown. The story of the healed child did not stay on one planet. Like a spark on dry grass, it spread from star system to star system, carried by traders, wanderers, and curious travelers. The name of humanity became a new word on alien tongues. Some spoke it with hope, others spoke it with fear, and some with anger. In the shining halls of the Orion Dominion, the High Regent listened as her advisors told the tale. The great empires of her kind had ruled for centuries through power and war, healing the broken giving life freely. These were not acts of power they understood. One advisor whispered, "If humans can heal what we cannot, our people will look to them instead of us. Our rule may weaken." The High Regent narrowed her eyes. "Then we must remind the galaxy that kindness is only a trick. Fragile things should not play gods." Far away, on a quiet water world where scholars floated in towers above endless seas, the Council of Thinkers gathered. They studied the news with great curiosity. One said, "These humans, they are not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the oldest, yet they have done what no empire has achieved. We must learn from them." Another thinker frowned. "Learning may not be enough. If they can heal so easily, then they may also break what they choose. Should we fear them, even as we admire them?" In the hidden shadows of a dark moon, warlords plotted. Their fleets were mighty, their weapons unmatched. They laughed when they heard the story. A child healed? What of it? Let the weak kneel to humans if they wish. We will show them that kindness dies first when war begins. Their laughter was cruel, but even they felt a small knot of unease in their hearts. Back on the alien girl's home planet, the mother began to feel the weight of these distant voices. Visitors came not just from nearby villages, but from other worlds. Diplomats, spies, and strangers arrived, asking questions, demanding proof, seeking answers. She protected her daughter fiercely, keeping her safe inside their home. But she knew she could not hide her forever. Already people argued outside in the streets. Some praised the humans, calling them saviors. Others shouted warnings, claiming they were dangerous invaders in disguise. One night, the mother looked at her daughter and whispered, "You are not just my child anymore. You are proof. Proof that humans can change the stars." The girl tilted her head, her voice soft and innocent. "Is that bad?" The mother closed her eyes. "No, my love. But proof is heavy, and many will try to carry it or steal it or break it." Meanwhile, aboard their ship, the humans continued their journey. They had not stayed for thanks. They had not asked for reward, but they were not blind. They knew the galaxy had heard of them. The leader stood before her crew, her face calm but her eyes sharp. "We gave hope to one child, but the ripples have grown. Empires will now wonder who we are. Some will want our friendship, some will want our secrets, some will want our end." Her second-in-command asked, "What do we do when they come?" The leader smiled faintly. "We do what we have always done. We help, we endure. And when they fear us, we show them the truth, that humanity's strength is not in its weapons but in its will to protect life." Across the galaxy, meetings were held in hidden chambers, council halls, and war rooms. Maps of the stars were redrawn, with new lines drawn around one fragile blue world called Earth. Some circles were of alliance, others were of targets, and so the galaxy prepared to respond. Some planned embassies to reach out and welcome humanity into the network of stars. Others prepared spies to steal their secrets of healing. And in the darkest corners, fleets were built, their weapons aimed not at planets, but at hope itself. The mother, unaware of these grand games, sat with her daughter beneath the silver trees of their village. The girl walked slowly now, each day stronger than the last. She laughed softly, her joy like music. The mother looked at the stars above and felt both wonder and dread. Humanity had given her back her child. But at what cost? The universe was watching now, and whispers were turning into storms.